Mog on Fox Night by Judith Kerr. One day Mog did not want to eat her supper. It was fish, but Mog always had an egg for breakfast. She thought, why shouldn't I have an egg for supper as well? She looked at the fish, then she looked at Mrs. Thomas. She made a sad face. Oh dear, said Mrs. Thomas, perhaps that fish isn't very nice. I'll give her some kitty food, said Nicky. Mog looked at the kitty food. Then she looked at Nicky. She made an even sadder face. I know, said Debbie. She wants an egg. Just then Mr. Thomas came in from the garden. Mr. Thomas had been putting the bin bags out for the bin men to take away in the morning. Mr. Thomas did not like doing the bin bags. He liked it even less when it was snowing, and he was cross. He said, You spoiled that cat. That cat has been given 2 suppers and has left them both. She is not to be given an egg as well. In fact, if that cat does not eat every bit of those 2 suppers, she will not get an egg for her breakfast either. And he put the egg back in the fridge. Mog was very sad when the egg went back in the fridge. She was also very cross. She hissed at Mr. Thomas. Then she hissed at the fridge. And then she ran through her cat flap and out into the garden. The garden was very cold. There was snow everywhere. But there was no snow under the bin bags. Mog crept under a bin bag and went to sleep. Debbie and Nicky were sad too when they went to bed. Mog never eats anything she doesn't like, said Debbie. She'll never eat that fish and the kitty food. And then she won't get an egg for breakfast, said Nicky. She'll be so cross. Mog was even cross in her sleep. She had a cross dream. It was a dream about Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas had put all the eggs in the world into a bin bag. He wanted to take the bin bag away. Mog tried to stop him. Suddenly she woke up. There was snow all over her. The bin bag had gone. Had Mr. Thomas taken it away? She looked. Then she thought, this is too much. First they give me a horrible supper, and now there's a fox in my garden. The fox had made a hole in the bin bag and was pulling things out of it. What is he doing? Thought Mog. The fox ate one of the things he had pulled out of the bin bag. It was a chicken bone. Then he ate something else. It was a piece of fish. Mog knew that piece of fish. She had left that in their dish the day before. It had not been nice then. She thought, that fox is mad. Then she saw something else. The fox had a little fox. No, he had 2 little foxes. He was giving them bits to eat out of the bin bag. But one of the little foxes only wanted to play. It played with the snow. It played with a twig. It played with an old tin. And then it wanted to play with Mog. Mog thought, I don't want to play with that little fox. And she ran through her cat flap and back into the house. But the little fox ran after her. And the other little fox ran after the first little fox. And the big fox ran after them both. Mog thought, this is really too much. First they give me a horrible supper, then there's a fox in my garden, and now there are 3 foxes in my kitchen. The foxes liked Mog's kitchen. They liked the sink. They liked the pots and pans. They liked the kitchen cupboard. And the breakfast table and Mog's basket. Mog thought, there are too many foxes here. I'm going. She found a much nicer place and went to sleep. Very early in the morning she woke up. Debbie woke up too. Debbie said, Look who's in my bed. Why aren't you in your basket, Mog? Nicky said, I wonder if she's eaten her supper. They went down to the kitchen to see. Mog's 2 dishes were empty. "She's eaten it," said Nicky. Then they saw something else. "I don't think it was Mog who ate it," said Debbie. The foxes thought it was time to go home. They ran out through the cat flap. Then they ran off through the garden. It had stopped snowing and it was a lovely day. Debbie and Nicky tidied the kitchen. They tidied up every bit. "Now you can go back in your basket, Mog," said Nicky. Just then Mr. and Mrs. Thomas came in. Mr. Thomas looked at the empty dishes. "There," he said, "what a good cat. I knew Mog would eat her supper in the end." Debbie and Nicky said nothing. After all, they thought, no one really knew who had eaten Mog's supper. Mog had a lovely egg for her breakfast. She was very pleased. And the foxes were pleased too.